Do-rag wisdom here on this Y2K 16.11.04. This is my Bible. This is a really old edition of 1984 paperback. 75 cents I paid for it, brand new. I must have like 4 or 5 copies of this novel around my house. I must have read it 20, 30, 40 times. The first time I read 1984, I was surprised that the protagonist, Winston Smith, was so flawed. It was really an interesting experience reading the novel for the first time and understanding, or trying to understand, when I was a 9th grader, what it meant to have your entire humanity drained from you so that you can survive in this horrific totalitarian society that George Orwell created in 1984. I belly feel 1984. I belly feel the principles of Ingsoc. Now, belly feel is a ridiculous word. It's a new speak word. This is the language that George Orwell invented in the novel 1984. It is one of the 3 principles of Ingsoc. The first principle of Ingsoc is the mutability of the past, which we've mentioned here. It means that the past can be modified and changed to fit the powers that be. And the second thing, which we're going to talk about presently, is doublethink, which is the idea of holding 2 contradictory beliefs in your mind while believing both of them, and forgetting, like when you're believing one or the other side of an argument, you forget that you supported the other side of the argument before, as if you never supported the other side of the argument, and now you're doing the opposite side, as if you always had that. And the final principle of Ingsoc is newspeak. And the language of newspeak is designed to get smaller and smaller and smaller, like the dictionary of newspeak. The newspeak dictionary is designed to get smaller and smaller and smaller, because the inner party, the big brother, the powers that control the populace, want everyone to be not think, to not have consciousness. So the idea of newspeak is the more words you have, the more thought you have, and the more chance you have of having thought crime. In 1984, there's a crime, an ultimate crime, a punishable, a capital crime called thought crime. And newspeak is designed to make the language smaller, smaller, and smaller, until it is not possible to even have any kind of thought crime contrary to the party. Now, we have a horrific presidential election going on. This is one of the most horrific, one of the most, I would say, most destructive elections, with the possibility that if we elect the wrong person, Donnie Trump, our country will become a kind of Orwellian nightmare. And we don't know what kind of it would be. We already have surveillance. We already have all kinds of horrific things going on today. People with the drones. The idea of stop and frisk that they want to bring back. The idea that very few people, rich people, a minority of people, own our entire media. You know, who gives us our information? So in a way, we already have the nightmare Orwellian world. So let's look at what's going on now with Donnie Trump and the Nazis' designs on our country. When I watch this monster, this Nazi, and his minions, it drives me nuts, because they're doing every possible thing, every possible practice that I've learned from Ingsoc. And belly feel, when I said before I belly feel, that's an Ingsoc word. That's a Newspeak word for really feel. I really understand. I really feel. Belly feel. Can you imagine a word like that? I belly feel Ingsoc. I belly feel what this Donnie Trump and his minions and that outraged pervert Giuliani are trying to do, and this Breitbart, along with the thought police, the FBI. Yes, every dictatorship, every totalitarian system needs a secret police. Hitler had the Gestapo. Russia had the Soviet Union had the KGB, of which Vladimir Putin was the head of the KGB. 1984, the fictional world, totalitarian world that George Orwell created, had the thought police, because thought crime was the ultimate crime in this Big Brother controlled world in 1984. So when I say I belly feel, I mean I really understand, according to the Newspeak word, what these totalitarians are trying to do in this country. And it stems back, of course, to the fact that the racists that still exist in our country, the cockroach racists, the ones who spawned the birther movement with this Nazi Trumpler, Trump as his head of it, they went crazy when Obama was elected. So now they're employing every aspect, every principle of Ingsoc, of totalitarianism, according to George Orwell, to make sure their Adolf Hitler, Big Brother, Putin dictator is elected. They're using the mutability of the past, which we've spoken about, and they're using doublethink, which is believing two contradictory ideas, believing both of them, and then using one or the other depending on whether it's going to make your position stronger. So Trump calls Hillary Clinton Crooked Hillary, and he's the crook. He is the criminal. He says Hillary Clinton should be locked up. He should be locked up. The Republican Party thinks that the election, and he believes it's going to be rigged, and they're rigging the elections. They're trying to say that they're for the people, and they represent corporations like the Koch brothers that want to wipe out the entire planet with their toxic chemicals. They claim to be law-abiding citizens, and they're using the police, the FBI, as a secret police to make sure that Trump gets elected. What kind of criminal conspiracy is going on right now to make sure that we don't have our first woman president, as flawed as she may be? There's a huge criminal conspiracy going on. And why isn't the media or the Democratic Party or people or the mainstream media, except for Keith Olbermann, why aren't they calling for the arrest and conviction of the Donald Trumps who are trying to destroy our democracy by doing everything he's accusing his opponent of doing? You see, because of the mutability of the past, that's the other Ingsoc concept. These totalitarians rely on us having no memory, that they can revise any kind of historical event they want, put their own brand on it, and make us believe it, And then they got the newspeak, and how do we have newspeak today? Well, yeah, to make thought less and less. But how I interpret for us, it's the words politicians use, that the way they reverse everything, the way they try to make everything seem like, the way you use a word like the Ministry of Truth in 1984, when it really, that whole ministry is dedicated to lies. Or the Ministry of Plenty, which is dedicated to starvation. Or the Ministry of Peace, which is dedicated to war, only war. And finally, the Ministry of Love in the novel 1984, which is dedicated to torture and hatred. The Ministry of Love is really dedicated to hate. It's amazing. And to watch these Republican totalitarians practice Ingsoc in front of me. And the reason I know that they're practicing Ingsoc in front of me is because I read this many, many times. And the totalitarians like Adolf Nazi Trumpler can't fool me. Remember, everything these people say is really them. It's really they're the ones. And they're using the language to brainwash us. Ladies and gentlemen, our country is only like a little over 240 years old in terms of the United States of America. And don't think for a moment you can't lose everything this country stands for. We don't solve the problems of the world by nominating, electing dictators. And it's because of 1984, my readings of 1984, that I recognize totalitarian crap in, out, everywhere. Hence, I will not be fooled. And because I've been reading 1984 again, I want you all to see this, because this is a very, very important, a hugely important novel. The FBI is the thought police of this country, the FBI, is trying to elect a dictator. Every member, as Keith Olbermann says, of the New York City FBI station should be fired. Donnie Trump and his surrogates are lying, double-thinking slime balls who are trying, along with their party, to revise the past that I and all of us remember. I belly feel the principles of Ingsoc, meaning I understand them. I really do, the principles of Ingsoc. And everything it stands for. And how, if we allow Nazi Trump to become our president, it will make of this country something so horrific, even Orwell will wake up screaming from it.